We shouldn't have that where the people can't afford their property taxes. The taxes are so high that they can't even afford to stay in their homes. It's heartbreaking. So for that reason, I will not support it. There are some issues that I wanted to discuss, but it looks like we're in a rush for time, so I don't want to hold anybody up. Maybe I'll just have my own separate press conference on some of these other issues because I really need to discuss them, and I don't want to hold up anybody that's here waiting to talk to us. So I'll just have a press conference on the rest. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Terriani? Okay, Bob was asking about post-traumatic stress disorder. Our Veterans Affairs Department does a great job. We're always trying to draw extra monies in for our veterans throughout Lackawanna County in all different ways. From you name it, we try to always be there for our veterans. Someone can actually reach out to Sandy Opshinsky in Economic Development and see if there is money available out there for post-traumatic stress disorder. You know what I mean? That's something we can look into. If anybody would like to, they can reach out to Economic Development. Parking up at the CMC, nothing to do with us whatsoever. That's the city of Scranton. And if somebody can give us a parking spots, I'm not sure if it is. He said, Mr. Bowles said it was $1. We would love to have had an option on spots like that for $1 a day for our employees. But we do not, and that's something that the city controlled and set up that way it is. But with that being said, Geisinger is a great investor in our community, and they've done a lot of construction projects up there, and that's something between the city and Geisinger itself. This coming Friday, please.
Solicitor.
Oh, okay. Mr. Joyce being a solicitor and working the office.
Yeah, please explain that because I'm
assuming that he could because he would have the knowledge of an attorney plus being
Mr. Joyce had been the solicitor for a number of years for the Tax Claim Bureau and office, and when Ron had retired, he had taken over managing the office. There's no conflict because he's representing the office that he's
Yeah.
So
it's not like he's
it's not a
representing
conflict
the
of
other
right.
side versus
Yeah,
the
right.
office.
He's not representing the other side. He's representing the county and he's representing the tax office that he's managing. So it's not really a conflict for him to do that. So
I disagree.
he does bill by the hour. Yeah.
I don't care. He shouldn't be representing a lawsuit that's up against himself. We should have somebody
sorry?
else. That is a conflict to me. I disagree with your assumption on that.
I would just think that he would have the more versed of anybody. Can imagine being an understanding of the office.
There's no legal conflict because he's representing the county in both positions. So he's representing his office. He's managing the office. He's also representing the office. So
It would be conflicting if he was representing against the office.
correct. Yeah. If he was suing the office, that'd be a conflict. But he's not. He's representing He's representing the office and managing the office at the same time, so it's not really a conflict.
Okay.
I think it's a conflict for us to have him in all those different positions, and somehow that doesn't seem to jive. I would have to be concerned with that.
Yeah, there's a lot more to that story than is portrayed also by Mr. Bowles. I'm just going to tell you. I mean, if you talk to Mr. Joyce, he can explain the whole thing. It's been going on for a number of years.
Could you bring in Mr. Joyce to our next
we could ask him
work
to
session?
do that. Yeah. He can, so he can build he can explain the whole process to you.
I understand. I just think it's a employment issue is what I'm saying. I think we need to have a meeting on that, so thank you for having the work session.
No problem. Okay, getting back to Lackawanna Senior Health Fair is going to be this Friday up at PNC Field, and that's going to be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., flu shots, giveaways, food. Great opportunity for everybody to come up and see PNC, home of the Rail Riders, and like I said, just enjoy the day, enjoy the stadium, and get the flu shot. Please come on out. And this coming Saturday, September 21st, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to be having a fishing derby at Merle Sanowski Park. If you have any questions, it's free, and you can call Parks and Recreation at 963-6764 if you have any questions. And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We need to...
Troy DeBill, you want to lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you get anything for the Board of Managers?
There is no one
We don't do that.
I thought there was just one little segment we did.
No, we got rid of that.
Okay.
We did that until they closed.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start the prison board meeting this September 18th at 1:51. We'll call it to order. Make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Okay. We're going to go make a motion, 19-2031, a motion to approve all current payables for the Community Correction Center and the prison. Could someone make that motion, please?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, the first of three reports, we'll start with the controller, Mr. DeBillio.
Yes, Sheriff McAndrew. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of August 2019 and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statements. The balance in the inmate account was $461,636.55 as of August 31st of 2019. The balance in the canteen checking account was $346,722.49 as of August 31st of 2019. And in addition, as of August 31st, the canteen account owned two certificates of deposit, one valued at $15,000 and the other at $132,074.73, totaling $147,074.73. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. DeBillio. Anyone have any questions for the controller? Okay, could I have a motion to accept Mr. DeBillio's report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Mr. DeBillio. Mr. Jeffers, a Community Correction Center report.
Good afternoon, Board. The Community Corrections Center's report for August 2019. Item 1, our program's totals. Male work release had 58 participants. Female work release had 4. Adult house arrest had 121 participants. And juvenile house arrest had 12. Our program revenues, 1, 2, for the month of August total $55,675.89. Item 3, our program's expenses totaled $99,450.81. Item 4, our program's completions for the month of August, work release had 14, house arrest had 29. Item 5, our program violations, work release had 7, house arrest had 9. Item 6, our program's warrants, work release has 8, house arrest had 0. And item 7, our budget report for the year, overtime is at 97%, expenses at 65%, and revenue is at 65%. That concludes my report for August 2019.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Jeffers? Motion to approve Mr. Jeffers' report.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffers. Warden Betty. Warden's report.
Good afternoon, Board.
Good afternoon.
The average daily population for August was 874 inmates, 623 were county inmates. As of 9/12, we had 877 inmates, 752 adult males, 5 juvenile males, and 117 adult females. There were 178 U.S. Marshal detainees, 65 state parole violators, and 22 being held for other agencies. Our overtime, out-of-county boarding, and the community service reports are attached. A staffing update. Currently, our correctional officer numbers break down to 162 full-time on shift, 2 on workers' comp, 1 on continuous FMLA, 5 on administrative leave, and 8 full-time vacancies and 13 part-time vacancies. Effective today, Dave Piga has been promoted to the position of lieutenant. Lieutenant Piga has been employed with the prison since 1998 and served as a sergeant with us since 2004. Additionally, 2 officers have been promoted to the rank of sergeant. That's Walter Mills and James E. Walsh. And finally, we'll be starting a new class for COs next Wednesday, 9/25, and all the full-time vacancies will be filled. FMLA, we have 1 officer out on continuous FMLA and 38 who have intermittent FMLA, accounting for 21% of the COs. Budget, as of August 31st, revenue was at 74% and expenses were at 67%. Inmates at or past their minimum dates, the number is 28. 10 have submitted home plans or are awaiting parole. 5 have no home plans. 4 have had parole denied due to unacceptable home plans or misconducts, and 9 have been remanded for the balance of their sentences. Extraordinary occurrence reports, there were 3 since the last prison board meeting. On September 1st, a county inmate resisted being moved from restrictive housing for pre-hearing segregation. He was placed in the restraint chair for staff safety. On 9/9, a county inmate was found during an attempt to commit suicide. Officers were able to remove the sheet from around his neck, and he was then transported to a local hospital for treatment. And on 9/10, a county inmate attempted to leave his housing unit and became agitated when he was unable to do so. Responding staff placed him into the restraint chair for safety purposes. And finally, actually a 4th one, even though I said 3 originally, on 9/15, a county inmate, the same as above, ripped the bunk beds off the wall of his cell and began to destroy his cell with it. He was restrained and placed into the restraint chair for safety reasons. PREA, there were 3 PREA investigations finalized in the month of August. 1 investigation was inmate on inmate sexual harassment nature, and it was deemed unfounded. 1 investigation was of the staff on inmate sexual harassment nature. It was deemed unfounded. And 1 investigation was of staff on inmate sexual assault nature. It too was deemed unfounded. All completed investigations have been forwarded to the district attorney's office. Other information, the PVC program cancellation. On August 29th, I was informed by the state that they had decided to end its PVC program statewide. This program provided minor parole violators that were paroled from state prisons with the opportunity to participate in our PVC program for 60 days instead of going back to a state correctional institution. Number 2, inmate mail system. We have recently met with representatives from a company called Text Behind. They provide a mail service that is free to the county, and they guarantee that there will be no contraband introduced into the prison via regular mail. Several counties throughout the state have already decided to utilize them, and their service is working out ideally. I'm providing each of you with information on the Text Behind company and service so that you can review it, and that was sent late last week via email to all the board members. Ultimately, I may be seeking the board's recommendation to the Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with Text Behind for their mailroom services at next month's prison board meeting. But I want first all prison board members to have the opportunity to review what they have, in case there were any questions now or in the next coming weeks. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Warden. Any questions for the Warden?
I do. That inmate mail system, it's free, there's no charge for the county, but what is the equipment to print it? They indicated that they electronically generate it and it gets printed here. Do we have to acquire equipment to do that?
They would provide that free to us. It would be a fax machine, a really high-level fax copier machine. So they would essentially email that to us, and we would just hit a button to print it off.
You'll provide us with an overview of this at next meeting?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Because again,
Appreciate that.
I haven't looked at it as fully as I could, and I will over the next coming weeks, but it's looking really promising at this point in time, and I would like to share that information because it may be a way to significantly reduce the risk of the mailroom officer and staff here to contraband items coming in through the mail.
We look forward to hearing about it.
Warden, will you also speak with other counties that are using it?
Yeah, we already have. I know we've been in close contact with York County. They've been using it for, I think, about a year at this point and all. And I know that myself and Deputy Warden Langen have reached out to Warden Dahl down there and spoken with him, and he loves it.
That was the issue that was raised by the corrections officers in the last meeting, wasn't it, about contraband coming in by mail?
That was one of their concerns, yeah.
Well, hopefully this will address that issue.
Yeah.
Anything else for the warden?
Do you know why the state canceled the PVC program?
Budgetary purposes, I think basically when they came to that, it was in the newspaper about them making another determination to possibly shut down SEI Retreat. This was kind of an ancillary decision tied directly in with it, and it's for budgetary purposes. It wasn't just Lackawanna County. They were in, I believe, 7 different county facilities throughout the state with this PVC program, and they're just shutting it down because of the expense. Because they would pay each county institution to house those inmates for the days that they were housed.
So it was a benefit for inmates
Definitely,
that they no longer have.
yeah.
And it's what, about 60 to 80 inmates a month here?
Yeah, they would be here for a 60-day time period, you know, give or take a couple days. They would be here for 60 days, and we would be compensated at $65 a day.
But it was roughly 60 to 80 inmates at any given time, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've been running, at times we ran closer to 90, but we averaged between 60 and 80 individuals here at a time. So that's just gonna kind of die out through attrition between now and November 1st.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Any issues with the body scan at all? How's that?
Body scanner's working out beautifully. I'm not hearing any complaints. I know that we're due for an audit there's a Department of Environmental Protection comes in periodically to audit what you're doing because it involves X-ray machines. So they got to look at the radiation and make sure everybody is safe. And I don't know if they were here last week or they're coming here next week, but I didn't get a report if they were here last week as of yet. But everything from our perspective is working out great.
Great. Anything else for the warden? Warden.
I should add one thing about the body scanner, just so everybody knows as well as the public. What we're going to be doing with newly committed female inmates is we're going to be providing them with a pregnancy test. We don't want anybody going through that machine that might possibly be pregnant. So they're going to self-test, show us the results of it. If it shows that they're pregnant, we're not going to put them through that machine. If they aren't pregnant, then we will,
Good idea.
just for safety purposes.
That's a good idea. Warden, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion to accept Warden Betty's report.
So moved.
Is there a second, please? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opportunity for the public to address the board.
Hi. Go ahead. Bev DeBarros from Scranton. You know, with the book program, I'm having a little problem there, a big problem. You know, our donors give us these wonderful books, and we haven't been able to get new books in since August 3rd. And probably the deputy warden will speak to that, but from what I know, when we bring books in, they all have to be inspected again. Nothing has ever been found wrong in the 3 years almost 3 years we've been doing this, but still, safety, all the books have to be checked by a CO. And we used to bring in books when we came in for our shift. But everybody's busy at that time, so we came up with a plan to come in on Saturday and bring a week's worth of books in, because it's, you know, not too busy in here on a Saturday, and a guard would come in and check them all, and we have new books. But after 3 weeks, then that brought us up to August 3rd, and it was said that, I got an email that there are enough books in the jail not to bring any more in. We couldn't bring any more in. But I think what I like to do is bring in new books. I say new, but they're used, donated books. Bring them in, and then we take books out as well to keep them circulated, so we're not giving the same books over and over. You know, there's fresh books in there. So I don't think it would increase the amount of books in the prison from us. Now, I know there are other sources of books that come in, like through the mail and so forth, but as far as our program, we have like about 500 books here as we speak on the carts in the closet. So that's what, you know, I'd like to have that resolved. And then the other thing is about the eyeglasses, the reading glasses. That's been 3 months since we talked about that. Different things have been said. I know last month the warden said that he would provide, or the jail would provide reading glasses to indigent people through the commissary. But the thing is, I don't know if they've done that, but through the commissary, I don't know how they would get the right strength of the reading glasses. And like I reported the first time when I brought the issue up, that I had talked to my eye doctor, and they said just have the person look on the book with different strengths and find the correct one. So we would have a variety of strengths of glasses. So I just really wish that we, the book people, could have that bag of eyeglasses with us so that we could get them, and so the people, those who need them, can use the books that we have, books and magazines. So those are my two things.
Deputy Warden, do you want to comment regarding the books?
Sure.
Is there anything come?
We have found that, and Bev and I have a good relationship, we're just talking back and forth. We found that we only allow like 4 books for each inmate per cell. And what happened was we were going through a couple of the housing units and shakedowns, and we were getting out 400 to 500 books out of one housing unit. So Bev knows we put it in this big cart for her to look through. So we stopped it for a time being, just because we had so many books in the building.
Okay.
So we will start it back up, but it'll be soon.
Okay.
So
Could you just
that's pretty much.
coordinate with her?
Absolutely.
Okay. Appreciate
We
that.
talk email on the phone, and I see her in the building.
Warden, what about the eyeglasses? Where were we with that?
Bev got that right, and that was our intent, and nothing has come to my level. I don't know that it is an issue, but it's something I could check into. I haven't heard of any individuals in here asking for eyeglasses, but I wouldn't expect it to get my ears. But I could certainly look into that to make sure that's not an issue.
Please do. You okay with that, Bev?
Yeah, when you say it wouldn't be an issue, you mean we might get them?
No, I mean, it won't be an issue to look into it and see if there is an issue. If I have 5 individuals saying I need eyeglasses, I want to make sure they got eyeglasses.
So, through which way? Through the way, you know, that Judge Gibbons donated those glasses. We can use those, if this goes through. We would use those.
I did not like those eyeglasses because some of them were prescription. I literally tried every pair on myself. And some of them were prescription eyeglasses, some were prescription bifocal eyeglasses. They weren't just what you would expect with cheaters. So I'd be more afraid of doing damage to somebody's eyes by them wearing prescription lenses. I didn't like those at all.
Okay, then should I, like the people, we see the people, you know, who need them. You want us to start getting names and give it to you, or tell them that?
That's fine. I will pass that off to someone else. I'll be honest, I'm not going to spend my time doing the eyeglasses, but I will have the dress. I will pass it along to my counselors and have it looked into.
Will they accept the dollar store variety glasses, Warden?
Yeah, control of the bill. We would just prefer to have more control over it because, again, some of these things could be, and I know it sounds paranoid, but they can be weaponized. And we would prefer to have things that we know are all plastic, that we know are the strengths that they're supposed to be, and that they're not prescription glasses. And again, if there's an issue, that we would purchase them through our commissary provider on behalf of that indigent inmate.
And any donated glasses should go through you?
I'm trying not to accept any donated glasses.
Okay.
There's other issues that I'm not even speaking to right now regarding donation. Concern about contraband.
Okay.
As long as the eyeglasses are in compliance with your policies and procedures here, you won't have a problem, right? Warden, Deputy Warden?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Jim Borer. I'm a volunteer with the book program.
What's the last name, Jim?
Borer, B-O-R-E-R.
Thank you.
And I'm reading a letter from Walter Barron, B-A-R-R-O-N. Dear members of the board, my name is Butch Barron and I've resided in Lackawanna County my entire life. I have been involved and acted as a member on several committees in Lackawanna County for the past 30-plus years. I have been a human resource manager for local manufacturing companies the past 25 years. It has been an honor for me to serve as a member of the Pennsylvania Prison Society the last 2 years. I have also had the honor to become involved with the book program brought to the prison by a group of volunteers. The program provides inmates with books and magazines that help those incarcerated to explore new ideas, cultures, histories, and so much more. For people serving a sentence, reading offers an enjoyable way to pass the time. It creates the opportunity to shut out their surroundings and live in another world. More than that, it creates a path to a brighter future. Although we find most correctional officers support the program, I have found it necessary to write this letter. Every Monday morning, Bev DeBarros sends the schedule for the week ahead, the times and persons for each shift, to Deputy Warden Dave Langen. We consult the dates on the monthly wall chart to see which blocks have been recently served by previous teams to discern which blocks should be served in hopes that we can fairly visit each area of the prison, allowing all inmates the same reading opportunities. The problem is there are some areas of the prison where the COs decide that the book volunteers cannot come in. We receive various reasons. For example, medications are being distributed, the one of the COs is on lunch break, and many occasions we are just turned away without any reason given. Last week I personally attempted to go into 4 different units and couldn't enter even one. We do understand that this is a prison and there will be times when an incident occurs in a unit. However, it appears to become more common and is totally at the CO's discretion. We are all volunteers when we come to the prison. We are often putting our work or family life on hold to do so. I am asking if together we can create a schedule that the staff and volunteers can adhere to and that will benefit everyone. When things go smoothly, one team of 2 people typically cover 2 blocks in the 2-hour shift. We have 10 volunteers and serve 11 blocks. 4 teams a week would enable everyone to be served about 3 times per month. We are more than willing to make this a successful outreach. Respectfully, Butch Barron.
I'd like to make a comment on that if I can. I believe that our board supports books being in our prison, and we support complete access as best as can be possible for the inmates to be able to read books. But I think it's important that the employees of our prison know that the board supports the book program. They may not understand that. So I think it's important that if the warden and deputy warden can get the word out to all employees that the board supports this reading program and that they should do everything they can to allow inmates to read books whenever they're able to. If you can do that, please.
Deputy Warden, I know there's, again, guidelines I have to follow and policies. Is there a way that you can communicate, again, I'm going to repeat myself, with Bev to make up a schedule when to bring these books in? Because I know they have to, I mean, I concur with Controller DeBilio, everybody wants to see the book program in the prison, subject to security. But please, after the meeting, whenever it's convenient for you to get together with Bev to work out a schedule when is a good time that the volunteers can come in and distribute the books.
Sure.
Would that be a problem?
Not a problem.
As long as they pass the security measures?
Right.
Everybody okay with that? Okay. Thank you, sir, for that letter.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Dr. Stephanie Bressler, Scranton. Voting holds a special place in our American democracy. If an individual is eligible to vote, whether confined in a jail or not, the opportunity to exercise that constitutional right must be honored. In Pennsylvania, detained individuals who are otherwise eligible to vote can register and vote if they are either detained while serving a sentence for a misdemeanor, or if they are pre-trial detainees awaiting trial on charges of a misdemeanor or on charges of a felony. At the July Prison Board meeting, a member of the public asked if the prison has a policy on voting. The warden confirmed the prison has a policy and said, quote, "The matter is covered in our policy and procedures," end quote. In response to my initial right-to-know request for this policy, I was provided with a copy of the guidance on inmate voting provided by the Pennsylvania Department of State. My second right-to-know request, clarifying that I was actually requesting the policy referenced by the warden, was denied based on the Lackawanna County Prison not having an independent policy addressing voting rights for detainees. Although detainees face many logistical barriers to voting while confined, the inmate handbook does not provide any guidance about access to voter information. My questions today are, number one, what voting assistance does the prison currently provide for detainees? Number two, if no effective protocol is in place, I request an opportunity to come into the prison to conduct inmate voting rights education for inmates and/or staff who can assist them. I am willing to help detainees with online voter registration and online requests for absentee ballots, and/or deliver completed paper registrations, paper absentee ballot applications, and completed absentee ballots to the Lackawanna County Department of Elections. There are many examples of voting outreach programs in jails and prisons in Pennsylvania, including the Philadelphia jail system. For almost 20 years, this jail system has welcomed voter assistance under the rubric of rehabilitation. Voting helps to develop and maintain ties between inmates and the community and aids in post-confinement reintegration. I am offering my experience to set up a voter assistance initiative in the Lackawanna County Prison. I am a former tenured faculty member at King's College and hold a PhD in political science, focusing on American government. I have experience teaching a college-level class at the State Correctional Institution at Dallas and have conducted many nonpartisan voter registration drives. While I would like to institute an ongoing voter education program for staff and inmates, because of the rapidly approaching October 7th voter registration deadline, we must act as soon as possible to make voter assistance available.
Since this is a legal issue, I think I want to defer to Attorney Solfanelli on this.
Yeah, the warden indicated that we do permit voting, I think, through absentee ballots. Apparently, that's not a formalized policy, so I will be happy to sit down with the warden and develop a formal policy for adoption.
Well, you have to permit. I mean, it's not a matter of does the jail permit it. By law, detainees have the right.
I agree, I'm saying, just to formalize the policy, as you indicated, that there wasn't a written policy in response to your request. I think it's a prudent point that you make, and that we should have a formal policy on that ensures those rights are honored.
Right, and in addition, providing some assistance. There are all kinds of logistical issues here because some of these forms have to be mailed. And is there assistance? Do detainees know that they have a right to, those that do have a right to vote, do they know they have a right to vote?
I think that part of the policy will make sure that they do.
Just send a
I don't know
policy.
what mechanisms we have, but
Yeah.
I think those
And
are all
can that
valid
be
points.
advertised somehow, and can assistance be provided?
Warden, can you yes, can you come up?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Dr. Bressler, thank you for bringing those topics up. I just wanted to clear up a couple things real quick. I did say what Dr. Bressler said. I was mistaken. I'm confusing the county policy, which I know is in place, with the Lackawanna County prison policy, which does not exist. We don't have a policy addressing that. I guess you could say because it's a law. We don't have policies about every law out there. We have no objection whatsoever to extending an offer to Dr. Bressler to come in and provide this type of assistance, this type of educational program. We could offer it to staff. We certainly could offer it to inmates. And all we'd have to do is just get some basic information off of Dr. Bressler so we could do a proper criminal history background check and make sure everything is, and I'm sure it would be, is copacetic. But I have absolutely no issue with that at all, or with providing the inmates with that education and opportunity to vote if they're qualified to do so.
Would you collaborate with Mr. Sullivan?
Absolutely.
Convenience, so her request could be honored?
Yeah, that's absolutely. I just wanted to explain the part about, it's not like something we the prison thought of, because, you know, there are gun laws too that we don't address in policy, not to make light of it, but there's a whole bunch of things that if it's a law, we don't necessarily think about it. We've never, to my knowledge, denied anybody their right to vote. I've run into it a couple times over the years where someone was interested. I did reach out. I did get them an absentee ballot so that they could vote in that manner. My personal knowledge doesn't extend much beyond that, so that's what I'm saying. I would welcome Dr. Bressler coming in and providing this educational opportunity to staff and inmates.
Wouldn't they have to institute a policy before they can vote?
No, they have the right to vote, and I think that the benefit would be to ensure that it is scrupulously honored and even promoted, so that we know that there's, we go a step beyond the legal rights and ensure that there's education and an awareness program. Probably it's overlooked, so we can make sure that they get, you know, notified and encouraged to vote, and that the right to do so, and how to do it. And if we could schedule with Dr. Bressler as soon as possible, I think we could probably get that done for the next election.
I have absolutely no objection to that whatsoever.
Is that satisfactory to you, Mrs. Bressler?
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
Perhaps we can get that information to inmates early enough so that they can meet the October 7th deadline for the upcoming election.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Warden. Does anyone have anything else?
I could just add one thing. A couple years ago, I became aware of this, about this situation. And I found out that the person who is incarcerated, they would apply for their absentee ballot to their address, their mailing address to where they live, not the jail address. And so they wouldn't all be voting for Scranton people. They would be voting for wherever they're from, Troop, Carbondale, whatever. So I thought that was interesting to me. Thought you might be interested too.
I am.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, that's true. If you're registered before you come in, that's where you vote, or that's where your absentee ballot would be counted. And if you're not registered, you have to register at your last known address before coming in. So the jail can be the mailing address for the absentee ballot, but it can't be your registration address.
And you'll provide us with an update at the next board meeting?
Yeah, and actually, I think that the Pennsylvania Department of State provides a guidance, and the warden might already have that.
Well, you, the warden, and Attorney Sullivan will get together and
Yes.
get that done. Anyone else from the public wish to address the board? Members, other business? Motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. The prison board has concluded. Meeting is concluded. Thank you.